This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Canine Crew, it's time to just sell the damn thing. Doberman Dan is revealing his contrarian formula for getting a rush of new customers, building your business faster, and making the highest possible profits. Go to justsellthedamnthing.com to get your copy today.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is off the chain.
So, Dan, why Facebook? Why the hell are we on Facebook?
Well, I don't know. That's a question for you. I thought everybody and their brother was on Facebook.
Bro, because you're sitting here and you're like, oh, man, I guess nobody loves me on Facebook, and you're promoting this on Facebook. When was the last time you did anything on Facebook?
Never.
So what do you expect, bro? Oh, Dan's here. We're going to throw a party. Is that what you were thinking?
Yes. Well, one time I asked some of my people, because people kept asking this, what about if we had for my paid subscribers, my knights in the market in Camelot, it'd be great if we could interact with other knights and we had a private Facebook group. And I asked people about that, and there were some that said, yes, that would be cool. And there were a lot that said, I'm not on Facebook for a reason. So they didn't want it. And I'm all for using it as a marketer, but in my case, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Actually, I will. But
that's why we tune in.
In my case, it is a extremely piss poor use of my time. And don't think, I'm some money grubbing schmuck who has to be working all the time to make money. No, I can think of pretty much just about anything that would be a better use of my time than hanging out on Facebook. Sitting in the chair contemplating my navel would be a million times better investment of time than time on Facebook. So I have an account on there and I don't do anything. Notices of the podcast have started going up, not on my personal account, but on the Doberman Dan page on Facebook, which, by the way, I need to get with you about to see if there's a way to automate that. All these whiz bang secrets on how to do that.
Covered, baby.
So anyway, I got on there just 2 weeks ago. I want to see what is the deal? Why is this so addictive? And I just logged on to Facebook, and on the main page you come to, and all the stuff, I don't even know the right lingo, the stuff that people post in there. I kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, thinking, eventually I'm going to find something of substance. And I never did. It's this never-ending rant of people bitching and complaining and getting in pissing matches about shit that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're politicians and their favorite and who you should vote for. And I have people telling me who I need to vote for. I was always told, ignore the bad behavior, reward the good. So as soon as I see some good behavior from the politicians, I will reward it. But I haven't, in 54 years. So I just ignore it. But a constant barrage of, even people I respect, and I would want to hear their ranting on the topic of their expertise. I'm not hearing that. It's just people pissing away their lives, bitching about shit that doesn't matter. And I'm reading stuff from people opining about things that, first of all, they have no information about. I'm all for you giving your opinion if it's an informed opinion, but it's obviously not informed. And all these people bitching about things that they have no control over, yet they are allowing that to control their lives. The election is a great example. You have no control over that. They make you think you do, but it's not who votes that matters. It's who counts the vote. So you've got no control over that. But yet everybody thinks that affects their lives. Oh my God, we got to get the Democrats in there, or so we got to get the Republicans in there. They're equally delusional. Like that has no effect on your life whatsoever. Who is president doesn't affect you in one bit, especially if we're talking about financially, unless you let it. And so I'm reading all this stuff from people who let all this minuscule minutia and bullshit that's outside of their control affect their lives. And I thought, I just don't see it, man. I can't waste a single minute of my time on here. So that's what I think about Facebook.
Yeah. So all those people are crying and bitching, and you want love from them? Were you expecting love from them? I mean, good point. You were like, you're hoping to distract them, I think. Is that what you're trying to do? Get up in that feed and distract them a little bit?
I think so. But what I was thinking about today was, okay, so this is like a first. We always record the podcasts in private. So now we're inviting people on the podcast. We're going to think this is the person that I'm thinking, did I just invite a bunch of alcoholics to a meeting at a bar? Like, so I'm all about, enjoying your life and doing things in life that make you happy and being productive, like doing things as productive as possible to make money so you can make the money as fast as possible with as little hassle as possible so you can just enjoy your life. But yet I drew a bunch of people onto Facebook, which I think has got to be, aside from online porn, the biggest time suck on the internet, right?
Well, let's try to make it valuable then, right? Because when I asked you, I thought that we were going to do copywriting and marketing, the boring old stuff. And you said, no, don't want to do any of that. Want to talk about inner game, lifestyle, that kind of stuff. So this same progression happened in the podcast. And then we started with a marketing show and now it's more about inner game. What do you think caused that change?
Well, just because that's like the journey I'm on. So when you look back, everybody, if you're sick and tired of hearing my story, let us know in the chat. I'm sick and tired of telling it. I can tell you that. I will give you the Reader's Digest abbreviated version. So 12 years as a full-time cop, the first 3 just full-time cop, realizing that, oh my God, this is going to suck if I do this the rest of my life. And then the last 9 years, serial full-time cop, part-time entrepreneur, but serial failure entrepreneur. Started with Amway. Somebody hit me up for Amway, and that at least got me started on the journey. Like, holy smokes, guy like me can actually have a business. I never considered that. So I failed miserably at that. But at least it got me thinking, okay, I get it now. What I want to do in life, I can accomplish that by having my own business, more specifically one that will allow you to, have some residual income so you can have time freedom. So 9 years, nothing worked. Amway failed, and then at least 2 businesses a year after that. Some years, 3 businesses trying all kinds of different stuff, yada, yada, yada. So I mean, these are businesses. Okay, people succeed in Amway. People succeed in multi-level marketing. People succeed in the other stuff I've tried. I failed in 2 different vending businesses. God, those machines were in my basement for years. Couldn't give them away. But people succeed in the vending business. Started a home improvement business with my neighbor once. That failed. People succeed and do really well on the home improvement business. Started a jewelry business. That failed. Lots of people succeed in the jewelry business. All kinds of different things that failed that other people succeeded in. So what was the difference? The difference was the guy looking at me in the mirror. So was it a lack of information? Sure, that was a big part of it because I didn't know anything about sales or marketing. But the biggest part was mindset issues. Like I was programmed by poverty-minded people to be poor. So I didn't start making it took me 9 years to finally have a successful business. So I discovered direct response marketing and I started a mail order business. This is back pre-internet. That was the first business after 9 years of 20 plus failed businesses that ever were. And, I wasn't getting rich, but 12 months after starting that business, I was finally able to free myself from the job and leave the police department. And that was because I discovered direct response marketing and got okay good at it really fast. So that was a skill set, and there was a breakthrough there. But then remaining broke, regardless how much money I was making, was a mindset issue. So really all those previous 9 years of serial failure, that was all a mindset issue. And then when I kept looking back, like, okay, I keep starting these successful businesses and then I blow them up. I do something to sabotage, or I have a high income, but not a high net worth. So I started digging into the problem, and the fault, of course, as it always is mine. But why do I keep doing that? And that's when I started digging into the mindset stuff. So I won't say I'm bored talking about the marketing stuff.
Come on.
That's what I do to support my 2 bad habits, sleeping indoors and eating. But, if we're going to talk marketing stuff where I get into some very specific information, you got to pay me, dude, because that's what I do, But if we want to talk about mindset stuff, I'll talk about that all day for free. That's where the real breakthroughs are. Yes, do you need to get good at a skill set that can make a lot of money? That's a great thing, but you're never going to break through. You're always going to plateau until you get the mindset issues, at least until you start working on them. By the way, I used to think mastering direct response marketing and copywriting was hard. Like at the 10-year point, I thought I was really good. I thought I could do no wrong. And then I was humbled. I'm constantly humbled, time after time, especially when it came to copywriting. At the 10-year mark, I thought I can sell anything. I am, I'm just as good as all these guys who are alleged to be the best copywriters in the world. And then I'm humbled and humbled and humbled. And then at the 20-year mark, I finally had enough experience and been humbled enough. I'd had plenty of successes, and multiply those successes by 8. Those would be my failures. But I finally had enough experience, and at that point, enough wisdom to realize I know nothing. And finally admitting that I know not, because now I know what I don't know. At the 10-year mark, I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I know what I don't know. So that has been a difficult journey. And I used to think learning the skill set was hard. The mindset stuff, about 1,000,000 times harder. Because what you got to do, and what I've done, and I'm still in the process of doing, is undo a lifetime of hypnosis, of programming, conditioning programming, especially in the first 7 years. For most people, that remains with you your entire life. Just ask the Catholics, or any religion, really, but the Catholics are best at enunciating it. Whoever said it, the Franciscan monks, give me a child until age 7 and I will have them for life. There's a very specific reason for that, because a kid until age 7, their brainwave state is in a certain state. I forget whether it's alpha or something. I think it's alpha, but they're in a totally different brainwave state, the same brainwave state that you're in during hypnosis. And so you got somebody till they're 7, you've got them for life. Unless they're willing to do the really emotionally painful inner work of busting through that programming, that conditioning. That's why the poor remain poor. You've been raised by poor people. Those people, most of them, 99.999% will be poor the rest of their lives. That's why a story like Damon John, who's like a freaking billionaire and grew up in the projects on welfare, is so rare. Same thing with middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class. What you were programmed up till age 7, almost everybody will remain in that for the rest of their life, unless they do the inner work required to reprogram. And it's the toughest thing you'll ever do. And I find it fascinating because it makes no sense, and it's so counterintuitive how this works. And most of it's unconscious, like the self-defeating stuff you do is unconscious, and how to break that programming. I just find it fascinating. That I'm willing to talk about for free. That's my main focus at this point in my life. So the marketing stuff, I won't say it's boring, but compared to this break free of a lifetime conditioning stuff, it's kind of boring.
Self-discovery, discovering your navel, right? That's what interests me.
Yeah.
So we said that we were going to do Q&A, and I don't know if you want to open it up for questions, because the first one's hit really hard. So what don't you know?
damn near everything. It depends. Like, what topic are we talking? If we're talking about marketing, God, man, like that never stops, because let's talk about what markets really are. We talk about markets and market behavior. Markets are just groups of human beings. So market behavior is human behavior, and like human beings don't change what they react to. And, that stuff and how they make buying decisions, I mean, that has never changed and probably never will change until we become like cyborgs. But as far as like things in the market, that changes all the time. Like, just for example, like you had a really hot thing in the 60s and people used a certain angle to sell it in the 60s. You use it now, it'd almost be like you're speaking a foreign language. So if we're talking about marketing stuff, but let's
not talk about marketing stuff. Let's stick with inner game. So the first actual inner game, remember, guys, I think it's all dudes here, guys and girls, inner game. So a real inner game question that I think could start us off in the right direction is, Dan, what are you specifically doing to change that mindset, that programming that you came up with?
Well, I'm still in the process of figuring that out. I mean, don't feel like I've found the secret. But what's been really helpful is, and this is really difficult to do because most people, I mean, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, right? You can't see your own bullshit. So what's been interesting to me, I mean, this started for me like 20 years ago. What is, anytime I'd like state some kind of belief or excuse is a good one, like why this happened, geez, this sucks, why this happened, then I'll state some sort of belief or excuse about it. Being able to, as objectively as possible, look at that belief, and ask myself, is that true? Can I be sure that that's true? Why do I think that's true? And then the really scary one is that really my belief, or did it come from somewhere else or some other person? Like, is that really my belief, or was that implanted into me? And then when you start examining those beliefs, it's almost, like pulling a thread and the whole damn thing just falls apart, because, most of what we tell ourselves is bullshit and it's not true. And it's not our own thoughts. When you really dig into it, you think, well, wait a minute. Like the story about the ham, the lady who always cut the ends off the ham. And why do you do that? She goes, oh, because my mom always did it. And they asked her mom, why do you do that? She goes, well, because my mom always did it. So they asked grandma, why did you cut the ends off the ham? She goes, oh, that's simple, because my pot wasn't big enough. So like most of us are doing that. We're following these unconscious programs. We're not even conscious of the program. We're not even conscious of the fact that we're following them, implanted into us by others. So that's been helpful for me to look at my own bullshit and ask myself, is this true? Can I be sure it's true? Why do I think it's true? And is this really my belief? Most of the time, the answer to that is no. So, but still, we got all these unconscious programs, and we got biology working against us too, fear. So, it worked out pretty good for keeping ourselves alive when we would have these fight or flight reactions when something would happen that was, going to kill us, like a saber-toothed tiger. Now we have the same reactions to stuff that's not going to kill us, like somebody flipping us off in traffic or something. And so these are like unconscious programs. So first of all, examining the belief, and then going through that process that I just told you about. And then for me, it's been like a lot of people talk about affirmations and repetition and I guess there's value in that. I've not done a lot of it, but what I figured out, like physiology comes before feeling. So, when you feel like shit, you look at your physiology, you're all hunched over, you're frowning, if you want to change it, change your physiology. It's not vice versa. You don't wait for the feeling, then the physiology changes. It's, change the physiology. So I found that the same works for the mindset stuff. So when I act as if, that has a much bigger effect, on me at least. I could sit down when I'm starting a new project and the thoughts automatically come to me. Oh, I suck. Yeah, I've had success in the past, but can I do it again? Well, just think about all the failures I've had. I suck as a writer. I've screwed this up. I've screwed that up. God, this thing's going to bomb. Why do I waste my time? I can choose to think that, or I can choose to think the opposite, could do the Muhammad Ali thing. Like, I am a badass. Other people say I'm one of the best direct response copywriters in the world. So therefore I must be. And this thing that I'm about to create is going to be the biggest success I've ever created. So, for me, acting as if has been helpful, but like the whole key for me has been examining the belief systems and challenging the belief systems. And that got really, really hard when I started to deal with my PTSD, because that's been going on for 32 years, along with the chronic pain, which, by the way, was totally related to the PTSD. So when I had to start examining that got really tough, because, that's about as automatic as reaction as you can have, the physical fight or flight. And that kind of stuff is often triggered by stuff you're completely unconscious about. Sights that you're seeing, but it's like filtered out, or sounds you're hearing, and your body's reacting to it because, like say you see a BMW 7 Series in your peripheral vision, and you're not even conscious of it, but your brain is. And that car was present at the time of the trauma that happened to you. Now, all of a sudden, you get these fight or flight reactions that you can't even logically explain. So when you have to dig into that shit, it gets difficult. But that's what's been the hardest for me is, just examining the belief system, challenging my own damn belief systems.
Yeah, there was something that I think you had on one of the shows where, in addition to what you just talked about, is how is this belief serving me? And is it moving me forward? I think one of your billionaire or multi-billionaire friends was the guy that told you about that. Something like that. Just like,
yeah.
Should I be believing this? Should I believe?
Yeah. How is that belief system serving me? Right. Yeah. All your bullshit. Of course it's not serving you, but it's serving you in some way.
Serving to keep you poor if you're choosing the low side of it, or it's serving to elevate you if you're choosing the high side of it. So there's another question here. And I think we've talked about this on the show before, but where was the tipping point? And this is from John. I don't know his last name. Where was the tipping point where you realized that the technical skills and the writing and all that stuff wasn't maybe as important as the mental game and the inner game? And that was really where you knew that you needed to focus. How did you figure that part out?
Just probably, a good question. I guess that like the skill set stuff. So I saw people with not as well developed skill sets as I having bigger successes. And, so I had to realize like, okay, so why am I not where I want to be? Why haven't I progressed at the rates I want to when my skill sets have gotten better and better and better? I think it all just came down to finally being able to admit the areas that I was self-sabotaging in that unconsciously, and finally, bringing them to a point where I could be cognizant about it and then examine those beliefs and stuff. But you could have a really shitty skill set, But if the mindset is right, you'll still succeed because the mindset is the number one required thing. Like if you got the mindset, you can obtain the skill set or you can hire out the skill set. So the thing people deal with all the time is, well, geez, I tried this and it failed. Well, okay. So like, that's the process. You just summed up the process. You got to keep trying stuff that fails to get to what works, and hopefully you don't have to go through 9 years and 27 businesses or whatever, 25 plus businesses like I did to find out what works. But that is the process. And even people with a highly developed skill set have to go through that process. But when you got a shitty mindset upon failure number 1, 2, or 3, now you start getting in all the self-defeating self-talk and all that self-defeating behavior and self-sabotaging stuff. Oh, this sucks and life is unfair. And well, no shit, life is unfair. I mean, Buddha told you that thousands of years ago, right? Life is suffering. There's this Buddha, sum up the meaning of life force. Life is suffering. Has anybody been able to build upon that or better that since? No. So like, accept that and just move on. And it's like, so the people who have the right mindset will be like, okay, so that didn't work. Geez, this didn't work. This, this kind of sucks, but all right, at least I'm finding out things that didn't work. And the people who got the wrong mindset will quit too early in the process. Or the people like, okay, well, this failed because I suck as a copywriter. Well, now they'll put their head down and get their skill set as a copywriter to where they need to be so they can get the results they want because they got the mindset. It has nothing to do with a skill set. Or if they got the mindset, they'll be like, I suck as a copywriter, so let me just hire one who doesn't suck. It's all about mindset. And just a few years ago, I didn't want to hear that. And I thought it was all skill set. You'll reach a point where your skill set, well, that's about as far as you can go,
So a couple different people here asked, and I think this would be a good spot to throw in if you want. And what you described there, that path of failure, like failure, course correction, failure, course correction. Maxwell Maltz's book, what is it? Psycho-Cybernetics. They talk about that's how you get to success, right? Failure, course correction, failure, and then till you hit your target. So a couple people here asked about mindset-specific books that you might recommend. So one of them I just recommended, Psycho-Cybernetics. I like that one. Any other ones that you would recommend?
Man, there are a lot. Some of the stuff I've been reading lately might be too far down the rabbit hole for most.
All right, I got another one. Steve Seibold, 177 Mental Toughness Habits. That's another one, and I should send you a copy if you haven't read that yet, because that's a fun one.
Oh, cool. I've not heard of that one.
Okay.
I just noticed Mike F. asked, Jonathan, how do I get such a great head of hair like yours?
Oh, genetics, baby. It's the only thing I'm naturally gifted at.
So let me see. So some of I'm looking on my bookshelf now.
Another one is Carol Dweck, Mindset, Fixed Mindset.
Yeah, that's one I'm looking at right here. Carol Dweck, PhD, Mindset. That very good book. Yeah. Talks about the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So that's a great book. I Am by Howard Falco. You Are the Placebo, Dr. Joe Dispenza. That one talks about how your thoughts affect your physiology. I mean, that's no woo-woo stuff there. It's all physiology, and how most people are poisoning themselves, literally poisoning their body with their thoughts. So that's a good one. Let me see. When others come to mind, I'm having a hard time seeing my bookshelf. When others come to mind, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Let's keep moving. Here goes something that's a little bit different, so it might be fun to ask. Jeff says, how do you forgive someone that shit bad on you, like an ex-spouse? How do you forgive people that shit on you?
I don't know. I don't know that I'm the best person to ask that question. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something like, not forgiving somebody is like drinking poison and expecting it to hurt the other person, or something like that. Well, in that case, I think what's worked well for me has been repetition. First of all, listen, we're all flawed, fallible human beings. You yourself have hurt others without intention and probably with intention too. So you ain't innocent. None of us are. So there's that. Second, if you read You Are the Placebo, you realize that the unforgiveness is literally poisoning you physically. It's not just some mental woo-woo thing. I mean, that literally makes you sick. And in fact, a client of mine who's an anesthesiologist who had his own pain management clinic said that one of the biggest causes of chronic pain is unforgiveness. And almost all patients who have arthritis have forgiveness issues and also are very critical of other people.
Ooh, really?
And regardless of treatment, they will never, ever get better unless they're able to forgive and stop being so critical of others. So this is an anesthesiologist. This is not some sort of woo-woo alternative, doctor guy. But so for me, it's been recognizing that in most cases, nobody is like, I'm going to hurt this guy. Now they're just looking out for themselves. That's just human nature. So there's that. And second, it's just been like repetition, me repetitively either thinking, like, I forgive this person. I'm killing myself with this rumination over this and thinking about it, like all the toxic chemicals that result of that and how bad that makes me feel, so I got to change something. And it's just been repetition of, first of all, recognizing how much damage the unforgiveness does to me. And then I either think it mentally. Now everybody's think I am gone woo woo. Right.
What happened?
But either think, right. This is the kinder, gentler, loving
Chihuahua Dan.
Just thinking in my head, like, okay, I got a choice here. I can continue ruminating in this cycle, this endless loop on this shit, and die young or get cancer or something, or just be a bitter person. Or I just, I think I have a choice. Here's my choice. I'm going to think, I forgive you. And like, that never happens. Like, I forgive you. Woo, I'm free. Never happens. It's like repeating that hundreds, thousands of times, or even saying it out loud. I've recently had an opportunity to put that into practice with a company, the biggest company in our space, which under the former owners was known by 4 initials. But I didn't mention who they were, who totally screwed me, total breach of contract, never paid a dime, total breach of contract, and did it in a really shitty way. And I ruminated on that for at least a couple months until finally Lee Miltier, she's been a guest on our show, Jonathan, called me on my bullshit. Like, okay, is this the choice you want? How's that belief working out for you, Dan? Like, well, I feel like shit. I feel bad. And she go, great. Okay. You want to continue feeling bad? You want to get cancer? You want to die young? Just continue in that belief, or you can make a choice. You can think that thought, or you can think, I forgive you. So I chose the I forgive you route.
Yeah. So a legitimate question that has come up here is, Dan, are you writing a book on inner game?
I had not considered that. Because I feel like, I'm an amateur, still figuring out for myself. That'd be an interesting book, though. I mean, I don't know if it'd be interesting for the reader.
Right.
I know it'd be interesting for me to write.
All right. Let's see what else we have here. So this is a little bit different. What have you learned about inner game while working in law enforcement that has helped you today as an entrepreneur? Not killing people.
Oh, no. I learned a lot.
Are you carrying any of those lessons? Not even inner game, but just like this, even in dealing with people, have you brought that over to your copywriting business or your lifestyle biz?
People are freaking animals, man. Like, we're just one step removed from chaos. Every man for themselves, animal. No, just kidding. Kind of. Just kidding. No, I mean, I learned a lot about human nature on the police department because you figure out real fast that humans make no sense whatsoever. We are truly just a protoplasmic bag of quivering emotions. That's all we are. Occasionally, there's a few brief, fleeting moments of logic mixed in there. But yeah, I learned a lot, like, on the police department, especially about you just can't reason with the unreasonable. You know, when somebody's caught up in emotions, like especially fear or anger, there is no reasoning whatsoever, man. I learned a lot. I don't know that I learned a lot of mindset stuff there, but I did learn a lot of stuff about human nature, which helped with marketing.
All right, let's see what else we have here. We have fellow Podcast Factory family here, Brandon Neely, asking, Dan, what do you do daily as a routine to move into a growth mindset?
Step 1, smoke a lot of weed. Step 2, think about smoking more weed. No, even though medical use is legal now here in the gunshine state of Florida, I haven't smoked weed since high school. Although that might help now that I think about it. What do I do? So I'm just gonna be really transparent. I'm out of the habit, and I got out of the habit because of some traveling I did, and I haven't gotten back in the habit. But I was starting out with just like 15, 20, 30 minutes of meditation first thing in the morning. So I go sit on my back porch and watch the sunrise. And that helps a lot. And, you know, and like everybody says, well, I can't meditate. I can't control my thoughts. Well, you know, no shit. Who can, right? So the only thing I do, I don't attempt to control my thoughts, is just observe them, you know, try to focus on my breathing and just observe the thoughts and recognize that, you know, these are just thoughts. They're just thoughts. They're not me. I mean, the me is the observer. That's the real me. The thoughts, I don't know who those are coming from. But, you know, so everybody freaks out like, well, meditation, they make a big deal out of it. I'm a rookie as far as this stuff goes. But even just being a rookie at it, that helped a lot. And then having a routine that, you know, for me, it's at the very least, I get in 33 minutes writing a day. And if that's all I do, you know, at least I feel like, okay, well, that was productive. And then just, you know, not getting on Facebook, not getting on the news, not watching the news on TV, you know, not poisoning my mind any further than it's already been poisoned. So avoiding most of that stuff, and then trying to stay immersed in stuff that, you know, makes me feel good. And that's usually reading things that interest me, or, you know, reading stuff about how to unhypnotize yourself from the from the bullshit that's been implanted in you.
Oh man. So you talked a little bit there. So a couple other people were asking, so this was about growth mindset specifically from Brandon. A couple other people were asking what your morning routine looks like, how you set yourself up for success. Did you already touch on that? Or
yeah, so here's the ideal morning. Start with meditation. And then from there, it would, just because this is where I am right now, from there, it would be go into the studio and either just work on a recording or try to learn something new on the guitar, practice something new I learned that week. So that sets a good tone. And then I got a home gym, so get a workout. And if I get those 3 things done, like first thing in the morning, the meditation, the studio stuff, the music stuff, and the gym, then I feel really good. And then the rest of it would be, you know, whatever I'm working on that day. So it's mostly, for me, that's probably mostly going to be writing stuff in there, you know, so like at least get in 33 minutes and 33 seconds of writing, you know, at the very least. And then, you know, whatever other stuff I got to deal with that day. But you know what? So I just realized the first 3 things I do every morning have nothing to do with business or making money or anything. It's all about me. It's about doing what makes me happy. That's a great day if I start it like that.
That's really the selfish idea of having a lifestyle business, isn't it? It's about you. That's the whole fucking point, isn't it?
That's right.
Whose lifestyle is it? My lifestyle. Yeah, I like the same thing. Make sure that I own the morning for me, and then put out any fires or anything in the afternoon. And you know what? I got rid of Facebook off my Facebook was last quarter, and then email. So I no longer have any kind of, there's no communication here unless it's a text message. That's why you and I are talking text messages. It's like no outside distraction, only what I will allow in has been super helpful. So
that's great. Let me interject a couple quick things and we'll get on the question. So on the Off the Chain hotline, we had a couple people call in, and one of them, I believe, is on the call, Joe Coates, one of my knights. So that's Sir Joe of Coates. He called in a few weeks ago to tell us he's listened to every episode. He wasn't with us from the very beginning of the podcast, although he has listened to every episode. He downloaded them all on CD and listened to them in his car.
On a CD? Wow.
And then, yep. Well, he said back when he did have a car with a CD. So, and Anthony Russell also called in. That's also one of my knights, Sir Anthony of Russell in Los Angeles. He's an interesting dude. Like he mingles with the rich and famous in LA. He says he called in to tell us he's been with me since the very first issue of the Doberman Dan letter. So he's been a knight in the marketing Camelot since the very beginning, and he's been with us since the launch of the podcast. So
double wow.
So my thanks and gratitude to them. And here's a question we got on the hotline from Brent from Calgary, Canada. He says, do you need a passion to start a business? He said, so he's having a hard time picking a niche he's passionate about. And what he's worried about, he doesn't want to get stuck in something that feels like a job. So here are my thoughts on that, since we're talking about lifestyle business stuff today also too. So I've ditched perfectly good businesses that because I'm like, I'm bored with it, tired of it, fed up, not passionate about it, like my bodybuilding supplement business. Knowing what I know now, I should have kept that thing, because the money to be made, like Ken McCarthy said at the systems seminar I spoke at a couple weeks ago, the money to be made is once you find that train, you just drive it on that limited set of tracks back and forth, charging people for the train. It's not in building a new train or expanding the tracks where they've never been before. It's just once you find that, you just drive that train back and forth and charge people to get on that train. That's what I had with the bodybuilding supplement business, but I sold it because I was tired of it. So knowing what I know now, I'm asked that question a lot, like, I'm worried about getting stuck at something I'm passionate about. Well, if you can make money with what you're passionate about, that's great. But what if you can't? So like, could I make a living composing fusion and playing fusion guitar? The best of the best, like Alan Holdsworth, couldn't even feed himself doing that. So how do I expect to do it? So now my answer is, just start a business that's profitable, right? Okay. And work that business, but have somewhat more of a job mentality. Like, okay, I want to work between 8 and 5. At 5, I'm shutting down because, at 5, I'm going to do my passion. And what allows you to do is now your business funds the stuff you need to do, like sleep indoors and eat. And it frees you from having to make money with your passion or your art or whatever. You could just make art for art's sake. Now you don't have to be influenced by, you need to do it to make money, or be influenced by what will the crowd like? What kind of art do I make that they will like? Nah, just make your art because your business, is supporting you and paying the bills. So that's my answer to him. That was the only question I got on the hotline. I got others emailed, but I'd rather answer the ones from people who are live on the call.
Well, I wanted to move into some of that stuff, and I don't know if you have any of those, because some of these people, they're hard of hearing, asking like copywriting questions. Like, okay, Save it for the marketing Camelot people.
Here's my advice on that. If you're sane or you want to remain sane or become sane, the last thing you want to do is become a copywriter. Trust me, just hire somebody to do it. Unless you want to go through 2 decades of self-hate and bleeding on the page to get good at it, just don't do it. There's my copywriting advice.
So I think when you sent out that email with the bullets, number 3, how to create a business that funds your lifestyle, I think you pretty much just answered that right now. So that was on the money. I saw another bullet here, number 4, why chasing money will almost always repel it. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Every time I've chased money, it's, you know what? I think it's a lot of the unconscious program is the reason for that. So anytime I've chased money, I've agreed to do things I never really wanted to do. I've worked with people I didn't really want to work with. I accepted less as far as the amount of money than I should have accepted. And life just sucked. And then when accounts are settled and you look at the numbers at the end of the year, was never any further ahead than I was, in spite of how high the income went. So it seems counterintuitive, but like anything you chase seems to run from you. The fact that you're chasing it and that you need it and want it that's just totally indicative of lack, that you lack it. So you chasing it means that you lack it. And now you give out a vibe, like if you deal with clients, you do service work, or you have a business, and you sell to customers. Now you're giving out this vibe of desperation. Okay. And then that has the effect of just pushing it away from you. I'm much more interested in attracting it now. And there's there's the mindset way I just talked about, you letting go of the need, because the fact that you need it is repelling. And I've found ways to do that. And then there's the pragmatic aspect of this, and that set up your business so the ideal customers or ideal clients or ideal patients are attracted to you, and that's my whole positioning. This whole Doberman Dan business and positioning is all about that. So I've become a celebrity expert in my field. All right. So I'm an expert. I'm recognized an expert at what I do, and I've got celebrity status in my field. And that's just a result of all the things I've done to do that. And this platform, the podcast, is one component of that. So that's my preference, is have it so it's attracted to you rather than chasing it. If you want to chase something and you want to hustle, then hustle in setting up systems that attract the money to you. Because every time I've chased it, it has ran from me.
Ain't that the truth? Cold traffic. All right, let's see what else we have here. Doberman Dan, what is your, I don't know, maybe, all right, let's just throw this in there for the hell of it. It's a popular topic. What is your best tip on how to stop procrastinating?
Stop procrastinating, but start it tomorrow, I guess.
I'll do that.
Listen, it's eat the frog, man. Whatever the most distasteful thing you got to do is, that's the thing you do first in the morning. Like, so I've structured my life now where I don't have to do the distasteful stuff in the morning, because I do, like I said, you already hear my routine, do the meditation, the music, and the exercise. But after that, if there's something that I don't want to do, that is first up. As far as that's personal stuff. Right. So once that stuff is out of the way, once I'm on to the work schedule, then the first thing is just to do it. And just to get started, motion beats meditation any day of the week, even if it's like mindless motion, So a lot of my stuff revolves around having to write stuff. Writing sucks. Being a writer sucks. Having written something rocks, but the process sucks. Like, I can count on one hand the number of times I'm like, woohoo, I can't wait to write this. And when I was in it, I was in the zone. And 6 hours went by, I didn't realize it. That has happened so infrequently. But so just get started. Any kind of motion works for me, at least. Like if we're talking about writing, if you literally just write yada 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 on the page and just keep doing that, that will eventually lead to something. unless you're brain damaged, you probably can't write yada, yada, yada for 30 or 60 minutes straight. Some thought is going to pop into your mind. Write that thought. That for me, that's been like the biggest key. Here's the problem though. See, you're being controlled by unconscious programs that were programmed into you from age 1 through 7 and are still being reinforced. So that's why I'm so big on the mindset stuff. There are reasons you're procrastinating, and it all basically comes down to, I was going to say it comes down to fear. That's the biggest part, or love, usually lack of. That's behind everything. Love, unfortunately, lack of in most cases. So, are there things you can do to stop procrastination? Yeah, the most important, I just told you just do it. Like, I don't ever want to work out anymore. Used to enjoy it. I freaking hate every second of it. I just do it. I just go in there and get my reps done, because that's just part of the process. I rarely want to write, but I do it, and some days I look at the screen, I'm like, God, this sucks. Maybe I should have just stayed on the police department.
Yeah, right.
Would have been retired by now, getting 60% of what I couldn't live on, getting 60% of what I couldn't live on at 100%, but at least, But, so there's that. There's just motion beats meditation. But for me, the biggest thing is like examining the thought in my head. Why am I procrastinating? And then pulling that out there and looking at that like, all right, what's the belief that's causing this? Because that's the true problem.
All right, let's see. There was another quick one. We'll do one or two more since we're almost at the end. This one comes from Neri. What do you do to calm your mind when you're angry?
Weed, man. Lots of weed.
Duh.
Man, that's a good question. So only recently, like especially when I started finally dealing with the PTSD, have I had to admit, I've been a really angry person most of my life.
That's why people listen to the show, waiting for a rant.
Maybe so. Especially, what really pisses me off is when people talk about the medical system, but we won't go down that road. But yeah, like I've had people ask me like, so what kept you going through those 9 years of serial failure, that you finally could get that business going? Pretty much redirected rage, because I've been a really angry person most of my life. And righteous anger. I mean, there's lots of reasons to be angry. Once you open your eyes and break the hypnotism and you look around, there's lots of reasons to be angry. But yeah, so I've finally had to admit that, start dealing with that. But like so my reaction of what makes me angry. Nobody can do that, or no circumstance or thing can do that. It's my reaction. But still, when you're pissed off, you're an amygdala hijack, man. You're amygdala. Your lizard brain is taken over. So forget all this logical stuff. Like I could tell you, well, let's think about this logically and think about, wait a minute. So this happened, and that's why I'm angry. When you're angry, you're a protoplasmic blag of quivering emotions. You're not a logical person. You can't even reason with yourself. So what's worked best for me is just to focus on breathing instead of trying to justify things or try to reason through it or think through it. Like, oh, well, this person did this and I want to choke them out. And, it's just to focus on my breathing. That's all I know to do. There's probably better ways to do it. So alcohol, that's been a crutch for a long time. Gave that up. When I started working on the PTSD, I gave that up because that's just self-medicating. Getting pretty damn naked here today, ain't I?
None of my friends drink anymore. I don't know what to do.
Well, if you have a drink, you enjoy a drink every now and then, that's great. But, if you recognize you're just self-medicating, then that's an issue. You're not dealing with a real issue. It's like you're driving your car and your oil light came on. So you pick up the hammer and go, I'll fix that. And you smash the oil light and keep driving. It's really fucking stupid. The whole damn thing is going to collapse. I just dropped the F-bomb. I said I
love it. You saved it to the very end too, right?
But, same thing with prescription meds, man. Like, so I gave those up. I had a script for Xanax. I gave that up when I decided I'm going to fix the problem. I'm tired of masking the problem. I'm going to fix the problem. So, God, giving up drinking and meds at the same time, that sucked. And coffee?
What?
All at the same time? Yeah. So
you don't have a lifestyle business. You're full of crap.
Yeah, it sucked, man.
Giving up on all the good stuff.
So for me, really the breathing is the biggest. The breathing is the key. The breathing is the key to a lot of things. But he's asking about what to do when you're really pissed off or at somebody. Just focus on the breathing. When you're pissed off, you're probably not breathing very well, or you're breathing very shallow. So when you start to focus on breathing deeply, and just try to be cognizant of your thoughts and watch what thoughts pass and just focus on the breathing. That's been big time helpful to me. Or, like going to the gym, it's hard to be really pissed off when you're so completely exhausted.
Go get gun rage. All right. They're falling apart over here. I think that's it, man. That's an hour. We got probably more questions than we thought. We had nearly 60 people on here for a while. So all in all, I would say it was a success. Any parting words?
We killed the whole hour. So that means we got 2 episodes out of this.
You want 2? I was just going to run it as 1. All right.
Well, you're going to run it as 1. Okay. Well, whatever works for you. Well, damn it. I was just thinking, okay, great.
All right. Extra couple weeks. We'll split it. All right, bro. So parting words. We got to get out of here and go record episodes in private.
All right. Well, thanks, JR, for doing this. And thanks everybody who was on here. Appreciate you. Glad, hopefully you got some, well, at the very least, maybe a little bit of infotainment, entertainment. Maybe you got a few tips, but hey, appreciate you being on here, and look forward to, maybe we'll do this again soon. Right, Jonathan?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gang, that is a wrap. Another Off the Chain show is in the can. We'll be back in your earbuds next time. K9 crew, before you run off, I want to remind you, Doberman Dan has set up an off-the-chain hotline. Call in, tell us you love us. It's even better if you tell us you hate us. It doesn't matter what you say. All you have to do is call in, leave a message. The number is 321-424-6043. Again, off-the-chain hotline, 321-424-6043.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.